Alright everybody, welcome back to another video. Apologies again, it's been a while. During the school year, these videos are probably going to be a bit more sporadic, but I will continue to make them. Today will be my second and final video regarding California's governor recall. I'm going to quickly go through the candidates and then kind of talk about the state of a race as a whole. First, I will start off with the front runner in terms of candidates, who is Larry Elder. Larry Elder is a far-right Trump Republican. He is a conservative talk show radio host. He is an African-American Republican, and he identifies kind of with the Trump wing of the Republican Party. He's very conservative. There's a lot of, calls even within other Republican candidates for him to drop out. He does not have necessarily a good he said, abolish the minimum wage, stuff like that, which is very unpopular in California. That being said, the Trump base likes him, and Trump did win over 30% of the vote in the state, so, there is support there for a Trump-like candidate. And Larry Elder, certainly through his talk show radio career, has garnered that Trump far-right conservative support. He is currently the front runner in polling in the kind of replace category with an average of 24.2%. There's still a lot of undecideds, so we will see. The next candidate I want to talk about is Kevin Kiley. He's kind of more your typical just Republican. He's not ultra conservative. He's certainly he has more experience, one could argue, because he actually is in this state as a assembly member. And he's not necessarily polling too well. He hasn't done that great in fundraising either. Here we can go. We can actually see. Yeah, so Kevin Kiley not doing too well. He's raised just under $1 million, which, the political world is not very much. But he's definitely making a name for himself. Maybe he'll go on to run for something more in the future. But for now, Kevin Kiley, he's kind of just your middle-of-the-road, typical Republican. Not necessarily Trumpy, not necessarily very moderate. But, he's young. He kind of has unique, he wants to pave our roads, store our water, manage our forest, fund our police. It's just kind of typical, more Republican-leaning stuff. You could call him a moderate, but, he's kind of just your middle-of-the-road Republican. The next candidate is your not-so-middle-of-the-road Republican, but more your liberal Republican, Kevin Faulconer. Kevin Faulconer has probably held the highest profile position as the Republican mayor of San Diego. He has a pretty good record. There's photos of him marching in a pride parade. He said he is not going to take a woman's right to choose away in the state of California. He's definitely running as more of a moderate or liberal Republican, similar to governors like Phil Scott, Charlie Baker, and Larry Hogan, who are all liberal Republican governors in blue states. He would probably be the front runner, but he's kind of struggled to get his name out there. He doesn't have great name recognition outside of San Diego, and he definitely he's kind of more the establishment Republican. He is also running in 2022. He said regardless he's going to run again. If Newsom is not recalled, he'll try again in 2022. He would probably definitely be the front runner for kind of the establishment party to endorse him. He has, I think, the most endorsements in the state. So yeah, he's got a lot of the state assembly. He's got a representative, LA Times editorial board. Except he's really struggled with getting his name out there, getting people to know, hey, I am fiscally conservative, but I'm socially liberal. I'm not kind of like every other Republican. Then there's John Cox, who's your kind of outsider candidate. Yeah, outsider, cut taxes, shake up Sacramento. He's kind of your middle-of-the-road / Trump Republican. He's done a lot of campaign stunts with a bear, which is unique, I guess. He lost in 2018 by a very, very large margin. California has already kind of rejected him once. I don't see how they'll necessarily vote for him again. And he's not really standing out. He's kind of polling middle of the road, just because people remember him from 2018. But, his chances are not too good. There is Caitlyn Jenner, who is the celebrity in the race. She's kind of a Trump Republican, kind of not a Trump Republican. She was initially, when she ran, everyone's like, oh my goodness, Caitlyn Jenner is going to be the next governor of the state of California. She has not done much. She really has not done very much in terms of campaigning. She has the name recognition, but people don't really know what she's running for. Why is she running? And, what does she actually believe? Then there's Kevin Paffrath, who's the kind of only Democrat I'm talking about. He is a social media person, a finance guy, and he loves to go through his kind of plans. He has a lot of very detailed, very long plans. He's got an app. He's kind of young. He's social media savvy. And he's saying, hey, I may be a Democrat. I'm not really a big fan of Governor Newsom. And he's got all these, plans to make California a fiscally good place. He might be a Democrat, but he is not necessarily as fiscally liberal as other Democrats. He's certainly an interesting candidate. Maybe someone who will try to primary Newsom in the spring. Or the summer. We all have to remember there is a midterm election next year where Republicans or Democrats can take out Newsom again. Kevin Paffrath is definitely a unique candidate. He's polling pretty high. He's, even led some polls. But Newsom has not said, I want a fallback candidate, which basically is a Democrat who could replace him if he gets recalled. If he came out and said, hey, vote for Kevin Paffrath, maybe Kevin Paffrath would win. But for now, he likely will not. But he will likely place second or even first in the kind of candidate section. So those are the major candidates. Let's look at how the recall is doing. It is not doing too well. As we get closer and closer to Election Day, it appears more and more likely that Governor Newsom will remain the governor of the state of California. I think the recall campaign just has not done a good job getting awareness for this campaign. People also don't know who's running. People in the state of California don't necessarily like Governor Newsom, but they don't really know what the alternatives are. So, maybe they've heard of Larry Elder, and they probably don't like him if they are kind of a moderate or maybe left of center. The recall campaign really has not done a good job, centralizing around one candidate. They did that with Arnold Schwarzenegger, but there's so many candidates running in this recall, there's like 41, that it makes it really hard to get a base of people centered around one. In my last video, I said maybe Governor Newsom will be recalled. And at the time, it really looked like, maybe he was actually going to get recalled. But a combination of, bad get out the vote efforts by recall proponents, and I think also Larry Elder. People would rather keep Governor Newsom, even if they don't like him, than turn towards a Trump Republican. Maybe if a candidate like Kevin Faulconer or even Kevin Kiley or Kevin Paffrath were the front runners in this race, maybe Newsom would be recalled because people could say with confidence, the people that could replace him wouldn't be too bad. But at this point, it is either going to be Elder or it's going to be Newsom. And the vast, vast majority of Californians would rather it be Newsom. They're also, there's an election in a year. They're thinking, one more year can't be too bad. COVID in California, it's growing, but it's kind of remaining stable. The schools are open for now, so that's not hurting Newsom. If this recall election was in the spring, I would say, Newsom definitely would have been recalled. But COVID's kind of settled down and people are saying, kids are in school. There are these forest fires, but, not too much else. Let's keep Governor Newsom around for another year. Let's see how it works, and we'll either, vote against him in the primary or unseat him in the general. So at this point, last time I said maybe he does get recalled. I do not think he will be recalled. This is what the map looked like in 2018. This is what I think the map will look like in 2021. I think Newsom will do well in the Bay Area, in the Central Coast, in LA, Santa Barbara, and then also in San Diego. San Diego will probably be a little closer. But I think recall will win the kind of Central Valley and Orange County, Riverside, and San Bernardino. Also up north in the Jefferson area. My prediction is that the no on the recall wins anywhere between 6 and 15%. I know that's a pretty big range, maybe more like 6 and 13. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I don't think it's going to be close. And I definitely don't think at this point that Governor Newsom will be recalled. So there you have it, a little insight into the California gubernatorial election. This election is on Tuesday, September 14th, so it is coming up. Definitely something to watch. On the candidate list, I expect Elder to get the highest, then Paffrath, then I actually think Faulkner will come in a surprise third. But we will have to wait and see. With this election, I'm fairly confident in saying that Newsom will not be recalled. I think Republicans have kind of really disappointed in this election. This was their kind of opportunity to gain some momentum going into Virginia and into the New Jersey gubernatorial elections. The Biden's approval rating has fallen under 50%. Vice President Harris's approval rating isn't doing too well. This was really a golden opportunity for them to take out one of the most high-profile Democratic positions. And because they got some pro-Trump candidates in the race, and because they really did not raise awareness about this governor recall and did not push candidates who actually had a shot of winning, they kind of screwed themselves. And as a result, Governor Newsom will likely remain as governor, and I think he'll remain as governor by a healthy margin where when he takes the stage on the evening of September 14th, he can say with confidence, hey, California still wants me. So there you have it. My next video might be about Biden's approval rating, but I'm likely going to do a video pretty soon about redistricting and how that'll affect things. Also stay tuned for videos about updates in the Senate races in 2022. And I also might do a recap of some of the other House races that have gone on this year, like in New Mexico and in Louisiana and in Texas. So that is all for now. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos.